Uh, Capo. It's so easy for us to get lost, right? Lost in love. I'm a grown man, I can tell you the truth. Hey Peter, I almost fell myself. When it get cold, it get cold. Something like Canada. I guess you can feel me on that one, right? You know.
All right, and welcome to episode 9 of The Heightened Chef. It is our penultimate episode, the second last episode of the season. I am your host, Sean. I'm here with my partner in crime and culinary genius, Chef Alfred, right over here in the building.
What up?
Yes, so we are here taking part in episode 9, our annual cannabis holiday. It is my favorite time of the year. We come down to it at the end of October. Everybody's cutting down their plants, everybody's harvesting their crops, and we felt that was the best time to have a holiday. And this is it. So welcome to Cannabis Friendsgiving. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you everybody who took part, everybody who ordered kits, and everybody who's enjoying the food. We really hope everybody enjoyed your food this evening. Maybe we can just quickly talk a little bit about the menu before we get into the main event tonight. We have some amazing guests that we have with us, some incredible artists, and I can't wait to speak to them. And we're going to do a little panel discussion in a little bit. But just before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the food, because it was incredible and I cannot leave that off the table, because again, Alfred, you had an awesome menu. This one is definitely going to go down in history. This is one of our greatest menus. So talk to us a little bit about our harvest dinner menu.
All right, so our first course was, well, we wanted to basically do all the traditional, autumn, fall, harvest, everything that's like earthy, colorful, really, got that winter is coming vibe, So basically the first course we have a pumpkin and butternut squash croquette, which is actually breaded with crushed cornflakes as well.
Okay.
Just to follow the whole theme and all that, and then you're basically getting, with the infusion for that dish, it is a roasted garlic and dill aioli, and you're basically just gonna heat that in the oven. It's pretty straightforward. Just heat it in the oven and then start dipping.
Yo, you work magic with those aiolis. Like, that is your jam. Like, that's one of the favorite things that you do. Low-key, that is one of my, like, you always do awesome stuff, but the aiolis that you come up with, they are so nice and creamy, and it's just rich, and that's exactly what you want out of it. So I love
flavor.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. And I'm so glad to have had that be a part of that, of the menu. You knock it out of the park every time with that one. Yes, so that was our appetizer course, and then we move on to the main course. This was a really hearty course. So talk to us a little bit about what you guys had for the main course.
Okay, so for the main course, we have the braised beef short rib, which is...
Look at Madge. Madge is upset. She is mad.
Looks good. I
missed out, eh?
Fucking badly.
Yeah, okay, so it is actually, this one is really good because like the beef short rib, like when you braise it like correctly, then you have that like really nice texture of just like the meat falling off the bone, and then every bite is kind of like got all this, like, it just kind of melts in your mouth, you know what I mean? And just, it's so juicy, so flavorful. And then you mix it in with the risotto. It's on top of a bed of pumpkin and mushroom smoked cheddar risotto. And then you have
like, damn. Paul's like, damn.
And you have
delicious.
like, sitting there, I'm like, shit, I haven't even gotten to it yet.
Yeah, you played yourself.
That was really good.
yeah.
Villainy, you
I worked hard
Yeah.
today. I'm waiting for it. It's gonna be good.
It is. It's good. You'll enjoy it. And then you have the corn salsa to kind of give you that like little cool like a little bit of cool, just a little bit of more corn and other type of texture.
Little
And then,
crunchy vibe.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say it was nice and crunchy. It was good. Like it was, yeah, I like that a lot.
and then it's paired with the sweet potato and mango coulis, which is more of a sweeter because you get all the saltiness going on and it balances it out
Right.
with the sweet.
Yes. The mango was interesting to me. I was like, oh, okay, I see where he's going with this because again, the main course was very savory, salty, very earthy flavors. That's a lot of what the harvest menu, a harvest thing looks like, right? But that sweet potato and mango, the two sweets kind of worked together and gave it that extra nice little high note at the end. So that's
Yeah, it's not even like really sweet. It's just like it's got that like a sweetness to it. You know what I mean?
yes. Love it.
Yeah,
And that was the infusion for that course, correct?
that was the infusion. Yeah.
Yes. And that, of
A
course,
little
was-
bit of acidity too cuts the fat in the short rib, which is nice.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
I was a
it.
chef for 10 years, so I can hear all the stuff that you're pairing. I'm already right there.
Nice. Nice. Love to
Go
see it.
turn the oven on now, eh?
Yeah, he's about to get on it. He's about to
Ready.
get on it. And that, of course, is paired with our signature infused cocktail that we have every episode. And that was, again, our autumn champagne. So it was kind of a pear, apple, orange spiced kind of vibe. So that's the that was the drink. That's what Dylan's sipping on right there, right now.
Yeah, that's what I like. It's delicious. I'm big on like good drinks, not even alcoholic drinks, like good nectar, like
Yeah.
mango nectar, things like that. Like, this is a really good drink. I like
That's
it.
my vibe too. I'm a juice person. I vibe with that. I absolutely vibe with that. And again, the citrus and those kind of bright kind of flavors help with the menu because again, it's a very earthy, very savory type menu. So giving it those like extra little sweet high notes kind of, fill out the spectrum in
Yeah.
terms of taste. So that's really good. And then to bring it on home for the cannabis holiday, cannabis Friendsgiving menu is that dessert course. This is the one I'm really anxious for. And I feel like this is my prediction, my bet for who's going to get champion of the night for this episode. What was the dessert course, my guy?
I've never made this. I've never made it like this before. I've made a ton of different kinds of bread pudding, but this was an apple salted caramel and apple bread pudding. So I basically just sauteed a bunch of like apples in some brown sugar and some cinnamon and stuff like that. And then I made a bread pudding mixture with croissants because croissants are really like light and like texture is really, good when you.
Magic Face. I love Magic Face is saying the whole story. She's like, oh
You don't have someone I'm coming to Toronto on Wednesday. Do you have an extra one I could just grab on Wednesday?
I might.
Don't fuck around, bro. Don't fuck around.
Don't you dare promise that you don't have
I'll have to
it.
check. I'll have to check. When I go into work tomorrow, I'll check.
Thanks.
And I'll
Yeah.
message you for sure.
Otherwise, she's gonna grab you by the collar of your shirt and just fucking drape you up against the wall. and shit.
You snooze, you lose, and I snooze. So
Yeah, vibes. Yeah, man. So that was it. And what was the infusion for that course, Chef Alfred?
That was the infused French vanilla custard.
wow.
So yeah, you just basically throw it on top and like mix it all in. Textures. Even if you have ice cream, throw some ice cream on that and put that on top.
Ooh.
That'd be deadly.
Life hack. What's up, my girl? What's up? Did you
What's the total of milligrams in the meal? Like what is it?
125.
125 for the whole meal? Cool.
Yes. So that's for every course, including the drink as well.
Cool.
Amazing.
Yes. So we worked really hard on finding that dosage. So that is kind of the sweet spot for everybody, kind of because we have a very diverse clientele. We have people who this is sometimes their first experience, and we have people who are like heavyweights.
Yeah.
So that's why we put it in the sauce so you can kind of monitor. Like if you want the whole dosage, you eat all of it. If you want half the dosage, you eat half.
Right.
Smart.
Yeah, so that's the vibe because everybody absorbs it very differently. And
Very
that's
differently.
the tough
Very
thing.
Yeah.
differently.
The
Yeah.
tough thing with edibles,
Yeah.
because everybody's metabolism is different. I've seen it hit, like for me, I know my time. My time is 30 minutes exactly. It's like clockwork, actually. I take an edible and within 30 minutes, I feel it. But some people I
Pretty
see
much
go
same.
as long as
Yeah.
like 90 minutes. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
more around there. I'm more
90
around like 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
And like my max is like if I want to fly to space, it's like 450. But if I just want to have a good time, it's like 200.
Yes, at
You know?
200 is my sweet spot too. 200 is my sweet.
Yeah.
But you're right. If I want to fly to space and you like
And it's a good time. I mean, it's a good time. You want to go to space, it's a good time, but it's not an
Yeah.
everyday thing.
yes,
No way.
absolutely. You gotta have
It's same with me too. I used to have a crazy high tolerance. Now it's like I think for my birthday last year, I did like I don't know. We went and did like 150 of just some edible, just some like gummies and whatever.
yeah.
Went to Cactus Club at like two,
Cactus Club?
yeah, 2 in the afternoon, just for like brunch, right?
Okay.
Went there, ordered my food. By the time I got there, I was wrecked. Like I ordered like a lot, like a birthday meal worth of food, and it got there, and I was like, "You need to wrap that up." Like,
Wow, man,
no,
crazy.
I wanted to lay down on the floor. I was mangled,
Yeah.
absolutely mangled. And the girl that I was with, she did like 400 milligrams, and she was tiny, like 5 foot, nothing,
Yeah.
and like fine.
Absolutely nothing. Like do. What's next?
No, yeah, it's crazy to see everybody how different they are. And I also noticed like when I was selling during the gray market, I had clients who were teeny weeny like what you just mentioned, like 5 foot
Oh, yeah.
nothing,
Yeah.
teeny. And they would come in asking for like 1,000 milligrams. And I'm like, girl, like this should really fucking hit you. Like 1,000 milligrams is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Better book off
and
the
nothing
week.
would hit her. And then I ended up finding out it was because she was taking like medications like depressants and stuff, and that will fuck up the way that it goes into
body
your metabolism
metabolizes it,
and
yeah.
if it gives you anything at all, you know. So
Wow.
yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, that's something definitely that you want to look at, Madge, when you're doing your event. Like that's some knowledge that we can try and pass on to you. You know what I'm saying?
And they're progressing the science constantly. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like the
everybody-
meal that we're having for Halloween, we're doing the same thing. It's in the sauces. So people are not going to necessarily have to eat something and get nervous that they're going to get more and more high. It's more of like choose your own adventure kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, you can control it. That's a good
Exactly.
idea.
your own adventure. That's a funny way of putting it.
Yeah, man.
We should name one of our events. Choose your own adventure.
Yeah. Well, I kind of had choose your own adventure as our battle of champions because people had to choose their champion.
Oh yeah, that's right.
People got to choose the menu essentially, so that we did kind of have a choose your own adventure.
Your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure. Yeah.
I love those books. Those books were always getting borrowed from
Correct.
time. I had like all, bro.
The only books that are dog-eared on every page.
Yeah. Real. But yes, so that was an incredible menu. Thank you again, Chef Alfred, for putting that together. Like I said, you make magic happen every time. You are a genius, and I can't wait for the season finale next month. That one is going to be even more crazy. We always try and swing for the fences at the finale, and I feel like this one's really going to be a smash. But yes, so keeping it moving. I also want to take time to shout out as well our vendor, our special guest vendor for this episode, Bebida Verde, BV Nano Drinks. They have some of the most banging drinks on the market right now. Like these guys are legit the benchmark. And we're going to talk to Juice from BV Nano a little bit later in another segment. But yes, we want to big up to them. I also want to shout out to my dude, Elephant in the Room, for putting me in the gear tonight. You know what I'm saying? This is my close homeboy who's putting this together, and I definitely want to support him. We love being able to support everybody in the community. So big up to my dude, Elephant in the Room. Love is love, my guy. Thank you for putting me in the dope drip. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, sir. But yes, so again, like we were just talking about a little bit earlier, it is super important for the Heightened Chef to use our platform to try and lift everybody in the community up. We always want to try and make it a thing that we use the spotlight that we have to try and shine it on people doing awesome stuff in the community. And as we try and push cannabis culture forward and try and build this community of amazing people, we know that there can be no culture without art. And having artists being a regular part of our show and a regular part of what we do is built right into our DNA. So it was without fear and with sheer joy that I have coming with me tonight three incredible powerhouses in the artistic field. Once again, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us tonight and talk to the people about some of the incredible things that you guys are doing. So let's get right into it. I want to big up first and foremost to our returning guest. This lady has been a part of the Heightened Chef for a while now. We're happy to have you be a part of the family. I tell you, you're still my spirit animal, girl. I still heart you. You know what I'm saying? You're my spirit animal. Everything about how you do everything is vibes, and we love to have you be a part. This is Madge B from Adult Art Attack. She's out here doing some incredible events with art and really changing the perceptions on how art can be introduced into the community and with cannabis as well. So thank you for joining us tonight, Madge. How you doing tonight, girl?
Really rouge because I'm only drinking alcohol because I'm out of weed. So my cheeks are very rouge, but other than that, I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We are vibes. Everything is love. Everything is love. Thank you so much for joining with us. We can't wait to talk to you in a little bit, and we have a bunch of things we're going to talk about. I know we're going to get into some awesome and hilarious stuff. I know. Next up, I want to shout out to my dude. This dude is a legend in the making. He is out here literally on these streets doing madness, and I love to see it. This is my dude, some artist, Paul. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is a graffiti wizard, bomber supreme out here doing amazing pieces, and I love to see all of the amazing things that you are doing, my guy. How are you tonight, my friend?
So far, so good. Yeah, just hectic. Always tons of work, but it's good. You know what I mean? You pray to be this busy and can't complain when you are. So
exactly.
it's good.
That's
no
it. That's
excuses.
it.
No excuses whatsoever. No complaints.
Thank you for joining us tonight, my guy.
Sure.
So we're gonna get into it in a bit. And heading up the back of the train for us, my guy Dylan from Moon Concepts, doing some incredible artwork out there, doing some incredible pieces. You are actually a jack of all trades. You have so many different mediums that you express art in, and to me that was kind of a thing that was going to bring all of us together in terms of what you could bring to the table in terms of perspective, because again, you're doing so many different things. Like, not only are you doing canvas pieces, but you're also doing sculptures, and you're doing clothing, and you're doing like installations, like the thing that you did with Heartbreak Chef, the Pulp Fiction thing. Like, I was so upset that I missed that thing. You have no idea. But yeah, doing all of these different things is amazing. So I'm glad to have you. Thank you so much for
sick. Did a piece for Jerome?
Pardon me?
You did an installation for Jerome?
Yeah, well, I have some pieces on the wall there. I met you when you were there.
That's you. That's right. I remember. I was like, wait a minute.
Yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy was inside. Yeah, he was inside doing the wall. And then there's the other side where he has the shelf. So I was doing a small installation there.
Yes.
But
yes, I remember.
Yeah, and then what we did after was we did like a collaboration. Basically, it was a Pulp Fiction menu. You know?
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so it was like bad motherfucker fries, a Royale with cheese, and a $5 milkshake. That was the combo.
How did I miss that? Yeah.
And then we did.
I love Jerome. He's good like that.
No, he's a solid guy. Like that's how me and Sean got put together through that. You know. So
I went to high school with Jerome.
Nice.
Known him for a long time. He's a good dude. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
What a small world, right?
Yeah. That's what the connections are about.
That's good people know good people, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. No, exactly. You know, exactly. Good people know good people, and then like what you guys are doing. I like what you guys are doing. Like, the best way to bring people together is through food. You know what I mean? From way back in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's across all borders.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, it's Exactly.
And that's
So,
again, like I'm saying,
as
and
a
I
doom.
think it's so important that art is a part of that, because art is another thing that can speak across vast gaps.
Absolutely. That's one thing I love about pieces. Sorry to cut you off, but a lot of pieces, like some pieces I'll do, they have writing on it and stuff, but some of the canvas pieces, there's no writing. You know what I mean? So it can be interpreted in your first language. You know what I'm saying? It's not that you're English and you're looking at it and it's an English piece, or oh, you're French and you're looking at it, it's an English spoken piece. No, it's just it's art. You know what I mean? It's just
That
something
allows
that
you
you
to
look
connect.
at and you interpret. Pardon me?
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it, right? Is like people can connect with each other over pieces that like don't speak the same language, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
We're all human beings, so we
Absolutely.
all understand the things that we know. You know what I mean? And it's a
And
big
we
connector.
No,
found
it's
that it's also art too. Like food is art, so it kind of just all like intertwines really, really well together, you know?
Yeah,
It's all
absolutely.
culture.
absolutely.
It's all a reflection of culture.
And that's it. And that's it. And that's something that we're trying to build, because I really feel, especially with the cannabis industry, the cement is very wet here. And we have a chance to change things and mold things that will last long after us.
Like that
So it's
analogy.
very important for us to put certain things in place now, so that later on they are just foundation. And you don't even have to think about it. Why is this here? How did this get here? We have to change it to a fit. No, we want the mold to be perfect when we're building it, and we have the ability to do that. So again, I feel it's really important to have that artistic expression be a part of that type of plan and that blueprint for what the cannabis culture and cannabis industry should be. So again, so let's talk a little bit. I think it's really important for everybody to kind of get to know everybody. Again, like you've just seen how connected all of us are in ways that we might not even know. So I feel it's always good for people to kind of put these faces to the names that are doing these incredible things, and give you guys a real kind of reflection in terms of where your pieces are coming from. So the first question that I kind of have for everybody is, what is your origin story? Was there an event? Now I want to kind of narrow down. I don't want you to go through your whole life history, but really what I'm trying to get at in this question is, was there an event, or was there something that motivated you to choose art as your preferred choice of expression? Like, why did you choose art? What was the thing that made you choose art in terms of, this is what I want to do? You know what I'm saying? Maybe we could start off a match.
Well, I mean, since I was a kid, like drawing was always a thing, but to make it more of a professional thing, me, it was depression.
Really?
Yeah, I fell into a really hard depression after I first moved to Toronto, and I was living in Europe, and I came back to Canada, and I thought of starting the first coffee carts in Toronto and doing a mobile coffee cart. So this was like 10 years ago now. And so this was before like the apps were invented, and like, you know, these coffee carts were like able to be on the streets. And then the guy that I collaborated with, who wanted to design my cart, ended up taking all my money. And so I just like fell into a serious depression. And I was just like, what the, and so I started drawing again, like really more with intention. And that's when I decided to look into like art therapy as like a profession.
Yes,
And
this
then
is the
that's
part
where
that's really
I
interesting.
started like teaching kids and doing corporate stuff. And then that was all fine and dandy, but I was just like, at the same time, I was like, I'm not really with my peers. I'm either with much older people, corporate people. Like, I'm not a corporate person in any way, shape, or form. And children are great, but like, they're children. So I was at this time we were all like kind of whispering about a legalization coming about in Canada. So this was probably maybe like 2.5, maybe 3 years before legalization. When was legalization? 2018?
17.
So I started this in 2015. And I did and then I was just like, I'm gonna start something, and I, for some reason, Adult Art Attack came immediately.
18. It was 2018.
Yeah, 2018 was when we went through legalization. So 2015 is when I finally got my own personal studio. and I've always wanted my own personal studio. And that's when I was just like, maybe I should start doing it events. And then Adult Art Attack was just something that I've always kind of had in the back of my mind as a name for a business. And then Paint Puff Pass was just smart. Like, I think it just is like a great fucking name for an art class.
Absolutely.
And so it started off like that. I did a soft launch in 2015 on 420 and it was sold out. And then I think on Valentine's Day the following year was when I did, like, I was like, okay, this is going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a thing since then. So it started off with us just having like one joint, you know, with a canvas, and we all painted the same thing. And it really expanded to like a whole bunch of other stuff. And luckily it went so well that I was able to expand in a bigger studio. And then I was able to go to Vancouver. I did stuff in Brooklyn, you know, I got to go to a couple different cities for this stuff, and it expanded to not just Paint Puff Pass, but like pop-up shops to like really promote all of the small makers at the time. Like during Gray Market was just, I think, such an incredible time for cannabis and small makers. And then when legalization happened, we all went through this kind of like this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was really great. And now it's expanded to like drag shows and comedy shows and paint nights and
Yes.
pop-ups and all this type of stuff. So
The
yeah,
possibilities are
mine
huge.
was depression.
Yo, but it's beautiful to see that a rose can grow from that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so happy to see that something positive could have come out of something like that. That is actually a beautiful story.
Thank you.
But yeah. And what about, maybe we can talk to you, Paul. What was there something that kind of motivated you in terms of what made you decide this was your chosen path?
I mean, yeah. So like I've been doing artwork since I was a little kid. Just like doodles, drawing. I've always loved it. My mom was an artist. And she, you know, always kind of made it available for me. She never like really shoved it down my throat. Just always like had everything available to me if I wanted to paint. Or she was a very arts and crafts kind of mom. And so I always grew up doing that, drawing comics and that kind of stuff.
Hey,
And
that's my shit. I'm
yeah,
a big.
it was so second nature to me that like I never considered it as like a career or anything. It's just something I enjoy doing. And
What were like the main characters you drew? Like you had
oh, I
favorite
used to do like X-Men, like all that kind of stuff. Just little like even when I was a little kid, like paper X-Men, I had like 1,000 Spider-Man toys and like comics and all that stuff. And then I got into like painting Warhammer and all kinds of shit. And
Okay.
I would collect tons of it because I used to work at my dad's shop when I was growing up. Like we had a 6-bay automotive technical garage, and I used to like, you know, make my little money there, and then I'd go and buy comics and cards and all that kind of stuff, and just like engross myself in it, and always surrounded by that kind of different art and Frank Miller stuff and Todd McFarlane stuff, and just
Oh, you're
always
blowing
like
my mind right now, bro. You're blowing my mind.
all my friends around me were like all drawing and stuff. They were super talented and like super gifted from birth, and like I sucked like really bad, but I love to do it, right? Like I just love to do that kind of stuff. And my mom would always be like, you know, draw what you see. And like, so I really got into realism very quickly and like 3D kind of stuff. So that's why a lot of my work has like perspective in it and like more realism kind of imagery and portraits and whatnot. And I mean, it was all kind of second nature. And then when I was about 16, my parents split up, and I did my last year of high school, my buddy's house, and like I kind of moved out on my own when I was 17 years old. So it was kind of like, I'm one of those people that literally like, I love everything. I'm interested in everything. Like there's nothing like, if you tell me something I don't know, like I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
Right. Cause even for the fact that I don't know about it. So
that's how you grow. You know what I mean? That's how
always,
you grow.
always.
Good.
So I've always been like that. But because of it, it was almost like trying to nail down what you want to do with the rest of your life is always the problem, right? Because it's like, what way do I go? What way, right? And I didn't have that, like those parents over me going like, what do you want to do with your life? And like, maybe you should do this and maybe you should do that. Like I never had that. So like I had to be that for myself. So I had to like rack my brain constantly of like, what are you good at? What do you want to do? What can you do well that makes you money and all these kind of things? And I really realized that was the wrong question to ask, right? And it was just like, it wasn't like, I eventually learned it wasn't like what can you do that you do good to make money? But like, if money didn't exist, right? Or you had more than you could ever spend, right? What would you do with yourself?
Yeah.
Right? And I started asking myself that question. And it was like, that's when I was like, I want to create. Like I would, if I had all the money in the world, or money wasn't a thing, it didn't exist, it didn't matter, what would I do with the rest of my existence? And it would be, I like to create things. I like to make things. I like to put them out there and make the physical embodiment of my mind. So just like, you know, just like Dylan, I don't specify medium. I do paintings, murals, sculptures, installations, fabrication. I do metal work. I do all kinds of stuff. Right. So
Versatility.
That's it.
100%. And I didn't want my designs to be restricted with a medium. I like to be inspired by things and then just make it. And I'm sure you know too, Dylan, knowing so many mediums, every single time you learn something new or learn a new medium, you have a new perspective on design and creativity. So like, if I learn how to weld, right, then now I'm looking at a design, not just from like a painter's perspective or an illustrator's perspective or a 3D graphics perspective. I'm looking at it from like a metalwork perspective. Or you learn lighting and you're like, okay, how can I, you know, work this negative space a little differently? Or, and then you start seeing it in 2D images and 3D images. And when people give you like a space and you're like, okay, how can I utilize this space to create something different?
Yeah.
So
That's
I never really refined a treatment, which was what everyone tells you as an artist you're supposed to do, is you have to refine this treatment, right? Because that's the way, you know, you're going to become recognizable and noticeable. And what I realized is maybe in the short term, right, people can identify your work. And if you get really good and really well recognized, in the long term, people can see and recognize your stuff and know that it was you and that kind of stuff. And I really didn't care about that. For me, it was all about versatility for myself.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you look at some of the best designers and artists that have ever lived, Da Vinci, Picasso, these people, they didn't specify
Dali,
medium.
all that
Dali,
shit.
everyone. They learned how to do everything. And because of that, it refined them. It refined itself.
Yeah.
Right. And they were able to build through all the things that they did. You look at drawings that Picasso did when he was 15, 16 years old, and they're hyper realistic renderings of like figures and all that kind of stuff. So you eventually go through your life, and that's what I learned too, is that people love perspective, right? Or they love seeing progression in an artist, right? So I know a lot of people into OCAD and like all these traditional art schools, and it's not that it's bad to learn process. You definitely learn it faster, but there's also a negative to being put in a box, right? You learn what everybody else is supposed to learn and has to learn. And by that definition, you put yourself in a box, right? Because now you have rules associated with something that should be ruleless, right? So
if there's a certain type of art you're trying to do something exactly, those courses are going to help you. A certain type of art that you're trying to do. So if you're going to be an artist, the best way, and even you just referenced Picasso, this guy tried to unlearn everything he was taught.
Everything, exactly.
If you look at his old, if you don't know who the guy is and you look at the art, you look at his when he's really old, and you look at the shit when he's really young, it's amazing. Shit when he's young, you would think that it was reversed. You would think that someone was learning how to paint, but it's being an artist. He became more of an artist.
And that's why one of his most famous quotes really was like, you know, he drew this girl in a park and it's quick sketch, right? And she's like, cool. She's like, she wanted to pay him for it. And she goes, how much? And he goes, 10 grand. She's like, what? It took you 5 seconds. He goes, it took me 5 seconds to draw, but it took me 30 years to learn. You know what I mean? How to do what I do. Like, you don't see all that work, especially when you look at something. A lot of people look at artwork. Oh, I could do that. I could do this. It's like, you're not like anyone else.
You're not paying for the time. You're paying for the knowledge.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So it's these types of things that like always fueled my want to like just be a sponge. Just be a sponge. Learn as much as you possibly can. Be humble about what you do. Don't ever think that you're better than you are, or you know what I mean. You always got to compete with yourself. You think you're good, do better, get better, do something that's different than what you're used to. The repetition of things, I guess it's because I'm ADD or whatever, but like the repetition of things is death to me. That is like It's the last thing I want to think about. I can't think about doing things.
Trying to
multiple
work in a
times.
factory, you know what I mean? Or are you trying to be creative?
Even doing art,
right?
even doing
Like-
art over again. Like,
No, that's
I
what
know a
I'm
lot of-
saying. Are you trying to be
Yeah.
a factory worker, or are you
Exactly.
trying to create shit?
That's
Because
right.
exactly. You're trying
doing
to
the same
innovate.
thing over and over again, bro, it's factory work at a
Straight up.
certain point. You know what I mean? It
Insanity, right?
takes the, I'm factory work is a
And that's the thing
metaphor.
is a lot of people like to refine a process. It's just like, it's like coming up with a good idea, right? A lot of people think that, if you innovate something or you invent something, you're married to that now because you created it and that's your claim to fame. Like that's the thing that you're going to do. And it's like, if you were able to come up with something like that, right? And come up with something different than everybody else, then why can't you recreate that? Right? Why can't you keep moving moving it further and keep going outside of your own box? And that's what progression is all about, right? It's like, if you don't doing that till the day you die, then you're losing a huge amount of your potential, right?
I
And
call
think
it
that-
I call it becoming the best version of yourself that you can be. You know what I mean?
100%. And
Challenge
that never ends.
yourself.
And if you're
That
and if you're
never
lucky, that never ends, right? If as long as you stay focused on that, you learn until the day you die. That's all we can ever hope for, right? So that was my kind of motivating factor, and it came down to where I did everything for like four or 5 years. I did factory work. I grew up in Brampton, so it was a crazy factory town. Like I did order picking. I worked in cross docks. I worked, like Apple One. So I worked like a lot of like agency work, all that kind of stuff. And because I was on my own, I saw all my friends do the same shit, and they all lived in like middle class houses and stuff like that. They had stuff taken care of, their school was paid for, all that kind of shit, and I didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
So I knew that, like, if this is all that they were going to amount to at that level, I was like, I have to break out of this. So I put myself through school. I went through I did 2.5 years at Sheridan for e-commerce management. Both my brothers are programmers, so I wanted to do online business. Work with my brothers. Didn't really pan out. I did sales. I did all kinds of stuff. And after I went to college, I was working retail. I was doing like Harry Rosen stuff. And then I finally got an opportunity to work for my brother. It didn't pan out. And he ended up showing me Second Life, right? So I don't know if you guys have ever heard Second Life.
Yeah.
But it's a 3D online virtual platform that started in like 2003, 2002. And it's a virtual world where, like, kind of like the Oculus shit, like you go on, but it's all on your computer, and it's a virtual world built by the users. So it's like a video game that built by the people who play it. Right. So
that's a place to showcase your work.
Yeah. So when I got into it, it was very new, and it was all content creators. So it was like people working from IBM. They were like programmers. There were VFX people. There were motion capture people. There were sound editors. There were skin renders, 3D graphics artists, all this stuff, like big players.
A big networking thing for people to just get
it was huge. It learned me all my hard skills, right? So I ended up developing, I loved it. I was like, this is really crazy. And it had its own it only had its own currency. So it was traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and like, you could buy their dollars and whatever. And I was like, this is really cool. It's kind of like a world where anything goes. Like, you can play it as a game, or you can do business in it, right? Big companies were coming in, GM, Ford, Maserati, Fiat, all these companies. And so I was like, there's potential in here to like do business. So I wanted to learn the tactile kind of like, building 3-dimensional kind of object stuff, and played around with that a little bit. And I started a car company in there where I would build like virtual cars and shit. And it was dope. I was just like creating stuff. And I was like, if I want to do this, like actually like learn this more, I have to get it to make me money. So I started taking on little commissions here and there, doing little things for people. And it got to the point where I did it for like 2.5 years, and I was making decent money at it, like enough to keep me home and like, doing whatever I was doing. And I basically proved to myself I was doing the advertising for my company. I was doing cross promotions with other companies. I was building stuff for big corporations. And I had this one project for this architecture firm in Germany, and they wanted me to build this sick rendering of this building. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I talked to like 13 of my friends who were all like you know, different content creators, and we built this thing, like this render for this company. I thought it was gonna take us like a month, took us a week and a half, knocked it out. I made like a decent amount of money. And there was one point in it where I was dealing with people from all over the world: Perth, Australia, France, like Beijing. My scripter was here in Toronto, just everywhere, all over the world. So always different time zones. And there was one stint of time where I was collecting all their assets, where I was up for 4 days straight.
Oh my God.
And I didn't realize it. So my buddy from Perth came on, and he was like, he dropped me his assets, and my body was like shutting down at that point. And I was like, yeah, you know, he's like, have you gone to sleep yet? And I'm like, nah, not since the last time I talked to you, like 2-3 days ago. He's like, that was 4 days ago. And I think that was my like aha moment. And I was like, this is 1,000%. Clearly, if I can stay up that long, just on pure like adrenaline of getting this done, like just so interested and so involved in it, I was like, I have to do this for real.
This is what
So
my life is.
yeah, but I didn't want to just do it virtually. I wanted to do it for real. I grew up in, hey, how's it going? I grew up in like in a shop, right? So my dad's an engineer, my grandfather's a carpenter. So like I grew up with this kind of like always needing to do tactile things. And I thought if I could succeed in doing that in Second Life, then I could learn how to do it for real. And I decided to go to Humber for industrial design. So I took all the hard skills that I had, graphics, all that kind of stuff, and I got accepted to Humber. And I only had like enough money from that stuff to really just like cherry pick. You know what I mean? So to do degrees and all that kind of stuff, you need to take electives and all this fluff, right? And I didn't want any of that. I just wanted to learn what I wanted to learn. I didn't care about the degree, and I just wanted to like get the knowledge that I needed so that I could do my own shit. So I could approach companies and with my designs, or they could approach me and I wouldn't look Mickey Mouse. So that's what I kind of learned, how to build portfolios and like really create ideations and really come to concise ideas and things like that. And then I learned what I needed to know, and then I started doing commissions after that. And to make sure that I wasn't like a slave to the money, I was a chef for 10 years. So as I was a full-time chef for 10 years, I was building my portfolio. Up until like 4 years ago, I was able to leave the kitchen and like just solid work on my artwork. So
That's dope. That's
one grind after the next, and just like, you know, learning all those lessons on the way, and it's gotten better every year. That's it.
That's it. That's crazy. That's a crazy story. Dylan, my guy, tell us a little bit about what made you get started and figure out that this was the thing you wanted to do.
So basically what made me want to do this was like I decided, you know, I just want to do, like, I had been building for a while, right? Since I was about like 20, I'd been a builder, right? Building condos and stuff in Toronto.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then when my son was 20, when I was 23, my son was born. So I started my own company, right? Because I wanted to like leave something behind for him. So I started a building company.
About legacy.
Basically, we're my brother and I and a crew of Irish guys, because that's a lot around the time a lot of Irish guys were coming to Toronto to work and stuff, right? So I hooked up with a guy that I had been working with, and we started our own company. We were running for a good couple years, and then I branched off with my brother because they wanted to go back to high rise, but we've always been like super independent, you know what I mean? Like we've always just had a different hustle like that. That's just, my brother and I are really close, so we always had a hustle that we would do together, right? So basically, and like some artist was saying, like everything in life, like I see something and I want to know more about it, you know what I mean? Like anything that's like a bit on, I want to know it, I want to get good at it. Like when I was like 7 years old, I started skateboarding. So until 7 to 10, I was like heavy into skateboarding, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Competitions, everything. And like there was a place in the city called Shred Central. I don't know if anybody knows about that, but
I feel I heard that before.
Like,
I've heard
yeah, it's like a legendary spot. It was right at Yonge and Wellesley. It was like in the laneway, and it was like the first skate park actually in downtown Toronto, you know? It was called Ramsterdam, but then it was Shred Central. I skated, and then after 10, from when I was 10 to like maybe 13, 14, I was heavy into basketball. You know what I mean? Like that's just playing basketball all the time, all the time, all the time. We were like city finalists, all that shit. You know what I mean?
And I
But
see that
everything
reflected in your
is like,
work because
I
I
like
see
to
the
get right into, you know what I mean? And then I started building, I started working for a guy and I started picking up everything because I did high rise, right? So we're going from the ground up, working as the builder's laborer, you know what I mean? So you see every single process, you know what I mean? You're there for like literally flat ground down to P5. The first building I was on was down to P5, parking level 5, up to the 20th floor. So literally, I'm watching it go from break ground down and up. You know what I mean? So I did that, and then I was like, all right, I have the knowledge that I need to start this, and this shit can be big. So that's what we're doing. And my brother and I, we built a good, solid fucking crew. You know what I mean? And we were doing some big jobs and stuff like that. And then around the time my son was like 5, so we had been doing it for about like 5 years, you know, as our own company. I decided, like my son and I were drawing one day, and I was like, fuck, like, you know, I forgot I was good at this shit. Like, I like this, you know what I mean? So I started making some like drawings with him and paintings with him. And then more and more, I'm like, I'm enjoying this shit. You know what I mean? I'm building houses now and I'm doing this and that. I come home and I start drawing and painting and you know what I mean? I'm like, this is now just meditation. Now I'm just doing my thing. I had 2 little sheds in my backyard, one for tools and one
Like a
that
part of
was
you
like
that you're rediscovering.
Yeah.
like literally, bro. And that's one thing about having children. I'll say it will bring like it's tough to have a kid at 23. You know what I mean? When it's like, fuck, this is real shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm responsible not only for my life, for this child's life, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I always think big, like I was saying, I want to leave something behind and that's it, you know. So basically started drawing more. I came up with the logo, like this little logo that I have right here, right?
That's it.
So and basically my boy came over, he's like nice, into fashion, always dressed well, like streetwear, but like super fucking clean, you know what I mean? One of my brothers, like, been knowing each other since we were 10 years old. And he goes, shit, you need to do something with this, you know what I mean? He's like, this is fucking proper, like little streetwear logo, you know? And then I'm like, all right, but I like the art side of things and I like short films, like, you know what I mean? I just love like all this shit. So I'm not just gonna call it something clothing or whatever. And then he said to me, he's like, listen, all the big brands, everything is their fucking last name. You know what I mean? All the names you know is the last names. Basquiat, Louis Vuitton, Gucci.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Versace. Those are all people's last names. You know what I mean? Because you put your fucking name on it. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do something, put your name on it. That's what he put your stamp, like, you know what I mean? That's it. He's like, if you're really on this, because he knows me, like, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna go fucking hard, you know? So he's like, all right, put your stamp on it. So I'm like, okay, I can't put it Moon Clothing. There's probably already like 10 fucking companies like that, you know what I mean? So I'm like, it's not just art, it's not clothing, it's not film, it's just what's it gonna be? It's gonna be concepts. That's all everything is. You know what I mean? Everything is just an idea. You know, an idea brought to life. That's what every piece of artwork you see is, a fucking idea. You know, it's a concept. So it's like at the root of every idea is your concept. You know what I mean? So basically, I'm like, all right, and I'm not gonna lie, like I spell it Mooonconcepts.
Yes.
Because when you see it, this is why. Because when you see it on Instagram, with a C, it looks straight across like this and it's flat. And the K completely separates the name from the idea.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Exactly.
God.
It's the break. You know what I mean? On
just the
so
name.
that's why
That's
why
super important.
yeah, you know, and so that's why I keep it with the K. So it's Moon Concept. So I just have these ideas. So basically what I did is I did a bunch of like old school t-shirts. You know what I mean? You know, the Sophia Loren side eye. It's like a famous picture. I did the picture where they have the sailor kissing the woman, you know, after everybody came home, after the war was over, you know?
Pulitzer
I
Prize one
have
for it.
I have Marilyn Monroe with her dress coming up. She's pushing it down. And they all have that ski mask on them, right?
Love it.
So I made some t-shirts like that, white with like vintage, everything's like black and white. And then the mask has that splash of color, pink, blue, yellow.
Sick.
And then I made some hoodies, and they were like really good quality hoodies because I wanted like to make streetwear, but like quality fucking shit. So I did embroidery with the mask on them. And they were expensive. Like I made them $100.
Gives
But
it a
I
little
made the
texture
t-shirt.
too.
Pardon me?
Gives it a little texture too.
Absolutely. It was 100% Egyptian cotton with embroidery, like texture art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the t-shirts I had in mind, I'm like, all right, I can sell them for $25. It's like, that's more of like everybody can, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't have the money for 100. So I'm like, I need a way
Makes it accessible.
I need a way to execute this idea where everyone is like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, this is not just like, oh, I'm doing clothing now, come to a pop-up shop and I'm going to be a part of it. So I'm like, I need an idea. So my brother at the time, like I said, like we always like have something going on different, right? So he was running a convenience store at the time. So I'm like, okay, a convenience store is the heart of the streets. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like it's the heart of the streets.
You're
So
right.
I'm like, if I'm gonna do a streetwear brand, I'm gonna do the launch in the fucking convenience store. You know what I mean? So we didn't even make it on a Saturday. I was like, October 6th was the day because my son's birthday is October 8th. And I didn't want it to interfere with that weekend. That's his birthday weekend.
Yeah.
So it was a Wednesday night, October 6th. I told everybody I fucking know. I started the page in like July, but then September, you know, and just posting like shit, like art and this and that and this and that. And then I told everybody I know, come to the fucking convenience store, you know, pull up, just cut, you know, you can see what's going on, you know? Yeah. And then everybody came through and we just basically had a fucking party in the convenience store. You could get $100 hoodie, or you could get a $25 t-shirt, or you could get both. I also had packages with, where's the letter? I had Bic lighters with the logo on it.
Okay.
And I had pins like for your hat or your jean jacket with the logo on it and a sticker. And I put those in little brown paper bags, like the small brown paper bags. And that was a package for $10. You know what I mean? That's like, you could come in the convenience store and then all of the gear that you bought you would get a bigger brown paper bag. Everything came with a sticker in it and the thing. Right. And that was kind of the birth of the brand. You know what I mean? So that was the first like big thing. And then, but what I did, sorry, I skipped a part. Basically, the night before I dropped the part 1 and part 2 to like a short film kind of thing, where people are like, what the fuck is this? You know, it's like the part 1, there's like a girl in a big fucking, I had just finished a house, a big fucking house. We did a 25-foot extension, like 2 floors, big house in the beaches. So I was like, fuck it, I got to film a short video in here. So me and my girl at the time came to the house with my boy, and we just did like a little short video, and I was wearing the shirt and this and that. I had a ski mask on, and then I was leaving the house, and then part 2 was me pulling up at the convenience store, and then I like give a bag to the girl, go downstairs, and downstairs there's a whole different scene at the convenience store. You know what I mean? There's people downstairs playing cards and girls packing up shirts, but they have it on like they're in a dope house and they have the apron on with the mask covering, you know what I mean? So they're packing up shirts as I walk through, and then I get to the back, talk to one of my boys like in his ear, and then and then I leave, and then I get back in the car, and the girl from the house is outside in the whip waiting for me, and I get in and leave with her. So people are kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know, so I was like, pull up to the convenience store. So the pop-up was in the convenience store that the video was taken at. So it was kind of like a, you know, come be a part of it. And that's what it's all about. Like, me and my brother were always throwing like, you know, little parties and this and that. And it's just like, let's put a name on this and let's do it. And then I got real serious with the fucking art shit. Cause I'm like, the clothing is fun and like, yo, we did that shit. Like I was out of the house at 17. My brother, my boy, my best friend, rest in peace, and my sister and her man, we all lived in a place on Queen West, like above the stores, right at Spadina and Queen. So it was fucking live. Yeah. So my brother had come up with like, all right, we're going downstairs to sell t-shirts. So we had white tees, and they said truth and a line on top, a line under it, and it's like read between the lines, you know, kind of idea. And selling white tees and shit, just fucking pumping tees. And then so when I was doing the moon shit, I was like, the clothing was fun. I did the drop. I sold all the hoodies. I sold all the shirts. Everybody showed mad love. It was, you know, and I really fucking appreciate everybody who pulled up to that shit, because that shit was kind of mad different. You know what I'm saying?
That's just support, man. Those people are the day ones.
When did you do this? When did you launch that?
That was October 6th, 2017. So that was 4 years ago.
Those were good times. Those were good times. 2017 was a good time.
Yeah, that's it.
We didn't know how good it was until now.
We did not.
No, exactly. So then I just kept doing different shit, and like I ended up cutting open my I severed 2 tendons on my right thumb, right? So there was a chance I wasn't going to be able to get it back. Like I have a big like scar across the 2 tendons and stuff, like literally wasn't going to be able to get it back.
And you're right-handed?
And I'm right-handed, unfortunately. Yeah. So I was in a cast for like 2 months, and then I was in like a takeoff casting, and then I did rehab for it, and it came back like 85%. So I'm like, but literally 2 tendons right. It was bad. Stitches inside, outside, everything. So I was like, I need to, since I have this fucking thumb, I am gonna put this thumb to fucking work. Like literally, that's what it was.
I was like, how important it was. 100%. That's dope.
And that's it. So I started doing the real fine line shit. Like if you see some of my work with the cartoons, like it's just like the fucking lines are just beautiful. You know, it's like some of them are virtually flawless, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I really put the time in.
With some of your pop culture stuff, like some of that stuff that you even have the background, like the Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, this shit is more like kind of just, you know, fucking throw the paint on. This one's waiting to be shown too. I'll show a little piece of it, but it's big and it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, but I love it.
Yeah, but the fine lines,
incredible origin stories, my guys.
Come on.
Like I can see, like it gives me such a better view into where all of your pieces are coming from and the inspirations behind it. I feel we kind of already tackled that question about what was your inspiration, but maybe we can keep it moving forward a little bit to where you've encountered some challenges and rewards. So I know there's some things that really make it all worthwhile, and there are some things that really make you decide, is this the thing that I want to keep doing sometimes? So maybe we can talk to a little bit about what are some of the challenges and rewards that you've encountered over the course of your journey from where you started to where you are now.
Scotch in the bitch, you can call me that Thc nigga. Philippa teeth on the wrist, long arms, and this water